When you leave,
Hard work.
when you leave my apartment, do you have Lulu hair with you at all? Or are you not here long enough to do it?
Sometimes.
When I tell you, especially during the times of the years, we'll go. I remember we went on vacation to Houston and we literally did the laundry, folded it, and put it into our bag. So we didn't wear it at all. We didn't put it anywhere. And that Lulu hair was there all week long. I don't understand. It's constant.
Yeah. That's why my next dog, I want to get one that doesn't shed. But I don't know, bro. I feel like, you know what I really want?
What?
I want a Doberman. Like,
Yeah?
yeah.
Would you do the things with the ears?
I
what
want
I'm talking
them
about?
pointy. I want them pointy.
You know, you have to get, I'm pretty sure you have to get surgery.
For them to be pointy?
To stay pointy.
Oh, I didn't know that. I mean, it's not that deep.
Yeah,
But-
I don't know. I'm not educated enough. Braden sits here and always tries to quiz me on dog breeds
Yeah.
and stuff like that, and I'm struggle, man. I'm on a struggle bus.
Yeah. Nah, Dobermans have this aura, bro, of just like,
Badass.
yeah, like I'll murder you right now.
It's a little dark, bro.
Maybe not the best start.
Aren't you
but-
supposed to be training to be like the ultimate Giga Chad so that someone comes into the crib and you
Yeah,
like,
No, yeah. But I feel like the more that I evolve as a person, the more that I want a dog that kind of just like represents me. So I can't do golden retriever anymore because I don't feel like that. I feel like right now my options are Rottweiler, Doberman,
Rots
German Shepherd that are like the black.
Mm.
Oh my God, a black German Shepherd will be insane.
Yeah.
But those are my top, or Chihuahua.
Bro.
So those are my top.
Both these
top
fire,
four.
bro. Chihuahua
Yeah.
mixed with pug. I'm
I
not gonna
always
lie.
have it in me.
Most Chihuahuas are ugly, but Potti's got that pug mixed in. He's got that dog in him, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he be eating hot Cheetos and stuff.
Yeah. Did you see the eclipse?
Yes, I saw
did?
the eclipse. Yes.
Okay. How was it for you?
Oh wait, like did I visit?
No,
Uh,
yeah.
I was
like,
working during the eclipse and I
Okay.
did not get any handy dandy sunglasses. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I don't know if this is just me. I saw a lot of people say this. I didn't care. Like at all.
Right, yeah.
I
and
don't-
I didn't I really didn't either, to
Like
be honest.
there, I don't know why everyone's like. There was one 5 years ago, and like I remember, I was on like my YouTube grind back then, and and I had this camera first. I'm pretty sure it was a G7X, right? No, barely any zoom, anything. And I remember like I was hyped because I was like, oh yeah, this eclipse is about to be sick. I'm about to have such a sick YouTube video. Like I got blind by the solar eclipse, something like that.
It's a
Like
nice thumbnail.
crazy thumbnail and title.
Yeah.
And I recorded it, and I had a perfect shot angled up at the. Bro, when I tell you, it was like nothing. Like this year's was actually cooler than that year's
Yeah.
because like it almost felt like for us this year, it's like I had sunglasses on, and it just like I don't know. Like obviously we weren't on that straight line to where it got like dark or whatever.
No,
It wasn't a
yeah.
full eclipse for us, but it was kind of cool. But like I was at work, so I was grinding.
Yeah. No, yeah. I saw it a little bit, nearly got blinded, and then I realized that I really didn't care just because, like you said, we're not on the path of totality where our day gets turned into night. So this won't be the last one for
Yeah.
us. When it comes to a total eclipse, I think we're not supposed to get one in another 20 years, but there's a lot of talk about the eclipse and what it pertains to God and the second coming. So I don't know if you want to, jump
Dude,
into that.
I talked to you about this, and for those who follow me on TikTok, probably saw it. There was an insane amount of people going out there and acting like they knew the prophecy, and everyone's like, "Oh, you need to repent because Jesus is coming back because the total eclipse, because it was mentioned at some point in Revelations and things like that."
Yeah.
And what I want to preface and stress that essentially people were fear-mongering you into trying to repent. And in my opinion, it put a very, very bad look on Christians from a sense of people were just ignorant. They didn't know what they don't know, and they're sitting
Right.
there acting like Jesus is coming back. But it says in Revelations, actually it says in Matthew, that nobody knows the time that Jesus is coming back, not even Jesus,
Yeah.
only God the Father.
Mhm.
And the fact that people were on social media clickbaiting for views and content and putting hundreds and hundreds, dude, it was all my For You pages, just people acting like they knew that Jesus was coming back. You need to repent. You're going to hell. The rapture's happening. We're going to get beamed up into the sky
Yeah.
and all of that stuff. It's so frustrating because it just shows the lack of education that Christians have, because if you just read the Bible through or even just the Gospels, you would know that no one knows when Jesus is coming back.
Yeah.
So how can you as a human, try and act like you know when he's coming back if that's just not the case at all. You know what I mean? Jesus doesn't even know. So
Yeah. So one thing that I do want to say is we are absolutely in the end times. There's no doubt about that. Everything is pointing to that. However, what you're talking about is more for the people who are specifically saying on this day the Lord will come back. On this day the second coming is going to be, which they don't know. Nobody knows, as you said. It's in the Bible that only God the Father knows. No one knows the day nor the hour. However, we would be dumb to think that these aren't the end times because everything is pointing in that direction, even from the prophecies that have been fulfilled and the earthquakes that are happening. All those things are in Revelation. Everything. So it really points you to that. However, like you said, a lot of people are trying to fearmonger people into repentance when truthfully, yes, a healthy fear of God is absolutely necessary, but you don't want to look for God, in my opinion, because of fear. You want to look for him because of love and everything that he's done for you. Like he gave his life for me. And so when I fear God, it is because I love God, because that's what he's done for me. And so I want to respect him. I want to treat him with importance in my life. But like you were saying, there's a lot of people who are just trying to twist things up. However, all I would really say to people who are confused maybe of whether of what's about to happen next, number one, I would just say you have to trust in God, absolutely, with all of your heart. And truthfully, bro, I know this is going to get deep really fast, but for the people who are believers, I would truly ask them the question, are you ready for your faith to be tested? Because again, to get real with what's actually happening, there's a lot of things that are happening right now that are allowing us as Christians to live very comfortably.
Yeah.
It's not going to be like that for a while. It's not going to be like that forever because there will be times where our faith will not be accepted. It's literally written in the Bible. And obviously Jesus said, they hated me first. They will hate you, but just remember that they hated me first. And with everything that's going on, it is a very scary time, but I do want people to truly look within themselves and ask, am I willing to put it all on the line for this, for my faith? Am I willing to die for this? Because that is a type of faith that you have to have when it comes to these moments, because again, everything's getting more real, crazy. And you really have to look deep inside and ask yourself, how am I with God? How's my relationship with God? And is my faith really that deep into it that when the times come, when the end times, when all the prophecies start to get fulfilled, am I really willing to die for this?
All of the fear mongering and false prophecies and things that people were talking about with the eclipse just shows the lack of education as Christians in the Bible. It's so easy to go on social media and hear people like me talking about God and thinking that that's your time with God. Steve said a TikTok today about God and he gave me a Bible verse and he's helping me grow in faith, which yes, that's fine. There's plenty of people who are educating us on TikTok and Reels and all social media about our faith. But the best and only place to get the bulk of your education of our faith is from the Bible. And I think the fear in the eclipse came from lack of education in the Bible. So people who believe in Jesus, but who might be lukewarm or very cold and not really deep into their faith got scared because they're like, wow, like I'm not ready for Jesus to come back. I'm scared. I think if he comes back now, I'm not confident that I would make it. And in reality, the Bible does say that anyone who accepts Jesus dying for our sins in our hearts and repents for our mistakes will go to heaven. And yet people are so scared of everything happening in the world because they're scared that they have not done enough in terms of their religion. And it bothers me because people will allow that to haunt them very short term where they're really scared and they're probably got kicked in the butt and was like, okay, it's time for me to really dive deep into my faith. And just as quickly as all of that scary things came to their mind is just as quickly as it'll leave their mind and they'll stop and they won't educate themselves and they won't get in the Bible and they won't pray and grow in their faith. But people were asking me like, oh, are you worried? How about this? People who aren't very deep into their faith or people who I've never really talked to about faith and religion in general. And they would ask me, are you scared? Or what do you think about this whole thing? And I don't know if it's just me, but I had no ounce of fear in my spirit. The Holy Spirit didn't put any fear on me. I wasn't worried. I wasn't even if they were right and Jesus came back that day, like why would I be worried? Everything here is temporary. So everything that we are going through on this earth, the fleshly desires, the temptations, the materialistic things, good and bad, what we go through, losing people and all of that is temporary for our ultimate destination, which will be in heaven with our Father. So in my head, I'm like, why would you be scared? Why would you be worried if Jesus was to return? And I think it stems from people just not being educated enough on the Bible, not knowing the word. And I think it stems from people educating themselves on social media. I don't know if you know, and it might be because we're in this social media algorithm of faith, at least for mine is, but there's so much growth in social media, especially in the faith spot, which I think is good because people are growing in their faith. But I think a lot of people stop right there. They stop their faith education in social media and they don't go outside of it. And that's not good enough for people to educate themselves off of a 60-second clip, a 2-minute clip on someone on social media. And I think that's where all the fear came, and that's where all the worry and stress and that, like, you need to repent now or you're not going to heaven and God's coming back, or sorry, Jesus is coming back, so you're going to go to hell right now if you don't repent for tomorrow at the eclipse.
Right.
And it's just very, I guess, worrisome for me as a Christian because Jesus was love. He came onto this earth in his ministry, and he taught us through people who were sinners, lusting, killing, tax collectors, all these bad people, and he taught us through that. So in the Bible, he teaches through people who didn't do good and who needed the help, and that's a direct reflection of us. None of us are perfect. We make mistakes, we sin, we do bad things, and yet Jesus is always there for us and always is there to accept our repentance and accept those mistakes that we do as long as we believe in him. And people need to understand that and get deep into the book, because the only reason I can confidently say this on the podcast isn't because I heard someone on TikTok say it, or isn't because even I heard a pastor say it. It's because I've read in the Bible to get to that point where I'm confident in my faith and confident in knowing our Father and Jesus.
In my opinion, I feel like someone's fear is always going to be a reflection of where their relationship with God is. Because as a Christian, you should not be afraid, not only of the second coming, specifically of the second coming, you shouldn't be afraid, but you also shouldn't be afraid of the end times in general, because if your confidence is truly in God, then you will know in his love, he would never just leave you there to just perish, you know? He will absolutely take care of you, and he will have your back through even in these moments. But again, like I was saying, your faith has to absolutely be rock solid. Knowing that maybe you're not, again, the most brave person or courageous person ever, but there will come a time where I feel like all of us Christians will have to face the question, do you believe in this Jesus or not? And in that moment, you will have to, this is what I feel like the Bible means, confess with your mouth. Not only just keep it inside of you, but really let the world know, yes, I'm with Jesus. Yes, he is my God. He is my Lord and Savior. And I don't care what you do to me. I don't care what you have to say, what you have to think. I will go out of this world, lose everything that I can possibly gain. But as long as God knows that I'm on his side, I don't need what you have for me. And you can take my life and you can take everything, and I will willingly give myself up because he already died for me. You know, he paid the price for me already. He showed me how real his love is. That's why I believe in this. That's why I believe in everything. And if your faith is not like that, it really is time to reconnect with God and seek him. And like you were saying, your faith walk should not end on the 2-minute TikTok video, or it shouldn't end on after a church service. It really is, in my opinion, a constant walk with God every single day, trying to get closer to him, trying to really seek him and get to know him more, because I feel like we're just foolish, bro, to know God, to know the creator of the entire universe and not try to have constant conversation with him or spend constant time with him.
And even going deeper than that, we know the creator of the universe, and he left us a guide on how to live a fulfilling life, yet none of us do that.
Right.
You know, every single person in school, if they were given a cheat sheet, they'd use the cheat sheet. So why would you not be in the Bible reading what God left behind for us and what the eyewitnesses of Jesus left behind for us to educate ourselves on the person who put us in every single circumstance and situation that we're in.
Yeah.
I feel like my life became a lot more fulfilling, and not in a materialistic sense, but just a moral and happiness and overall sense since I grew my faith. Um, what do you think about social media influencers who have grown to, I guess, a certain level of, I don't know if you can say fame, but
Mhm.
of an audience or fans or whatever, who believe in God, who don't talk about their faith? What do you, I just want to kind of talk about that, because that's a tough
Mhm.
spot, because you grow an audience, let's say in the fitness community
Yeah.
or in makeup, beauty, vlogging, whatever the case may be, and you could have such a amazing opportunity to grow your faith with your audience,
Mhm.
but stay silent. I feel like a lot of influencers are scared of the repercussions of talking about their faith.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's where they fall into the trap of they care more about their fame and followers than about their faith. But I also get it in the sense of you grew those followers from your niche, stick to your niche. So what do you think?
Well, personally, I truly the first thing that comes to mind is to whom much is given, much is required,
Mhm.
right? And with that being said, there's going to be a lot of people who have that ability to reach a masses with their platform
Yeah.
who don't do it. But again, to whom much is given, much will be required. And I personally feel like they will have to answer that question to God, not to
Yeah.
me and not to you. They will have to answer that question to God of, I gave you this platform. You thought that you did it, but I gave it to you. Yet you never used it to talk about me. In closed doors, and this is what we're talking about, in closed doors, you worshiped me with your lips and with your heart. But in front of the public, you were too scared of what people were going to say when you mentioned my name.
Mhm.
And that is the truth, bro. I feel like that, if anything, that is the reason why people don't, is because of the controversy or the repercussions that come with specifically, we're not talking about God, specifically speaking about Jesus.
Mhm.
Jesus specifically, because you could talk about anything else, any religion, you can talk about anything when it comes to very sensitive topics. But when it comes to Jesus, that's where people draw the line, and that's where they're like, "Hey, like, hold up, like, but,
I was
but,
gonna say, I notice a lot of people say God,
mhm,
but not a lot of people say Jesus.
right,
And it could be a false idol of God. Anything that you believe is God,
mhm,
regardless if you think there was a big bang and boom, everything created by themselves or a different God or different entity. But at the end of the day, as Christians, it has to be Jesus. You have to say
mhm.
the word Jesus.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying, or that's what we were just talking about when it comes to confessing your faith in public, because again, that will come down to that specific situation will come upon everyone where they have to confess whether they are with Jesus or whether they aren't, and a lot of people
Hmm.
are going to deny him the same way that Peter did. Don't get me wrong, bro. Like, if you want me to get real, I'm afraid that I would be put in that position
Yeah.
because I know that it's not going to be something where they're like, I know that there's repercussions, right? I'm afraid more that I would ever deny him.
Yeah.
I'm truly, my heart fears the day where I would ever deny him. That's why I feel like I'm mentally preparing myself to be ready, bro. To be ready for when I say those words of, yes, I believe in Jesus. It's not just going to be oh, you're a loser because you believe in Jesus. There's going to be
Yeah.
some serious repercussions to someone who believes in Jesus. And I'm preparing myself mentally to be able to endure in those times, because I know that there's nothing that anyone can tell me that will make me change my mind about God, about whether he's real or whether Jesus actually died for us and actually resurrected.
Hmm.
So if that's truly what I believe, I have to be willing to suffer for my belief.
Yeah.
And all of our suffering, all of our pain, all of our everything that we go through on this earth, like you said, is temporary. That's one thing
Hmm.
that keeps me very, very much at peace. No matter what I go through on this earth for my faith, no matter what I'm going through, what storm I'm going through, whether it has to do with, my personal life or my relationship with God, there's always going to come an end. And after that end, peace comes, and when it comes to life comes to an end. But like you were saying, everything is temporary. Absolutely everything is temporary. And there will come a day where that comes to an end and you truly meet what's on the other side of essentially picking God, because we were just talking about this earlier, right? And we can touch on it. Hell, if you want to explain it, is essentially a life without God,
Yeah.
completely without God. And so all of us have the choice whether to choose Jesus or whether to choose not Jesus. And essentially, what the choice that's truly given is, do you want to live a life fully with God or fully without God? And if you want to live a life fully with God, and he will show you, this is life with me. But a lot of people think that on this earth we're living without God, but we're not. We're not. When you get to that point of, like you said, when it gets to that point where people are in hell, people are in heaven, then you will truly see what life without God is truly like, because he will depart completely from those people, because that's what they chose. You had a choice at the end of the day, and you chose to live without God. So he will show you, this is life without me. And it's very unfortunate and it's very sad, bro. That's why as Christians, we really have to do better, in my opinion, to be more serious about our faith and really tell people, but everyone has a choice at the end of the day.
People think hell is this fiery pit that you're literally going to physically burn in. And the devil's this scary looking big old red dude with horns and things like that. First off, the enemy is a fallen angel. So if anything, he's probably going to look a lot more enticing and more majestic and pretty looking like than we think as this big red dude who's in hell and there's fire and lava everywhere.
Yeah.
Second off, like you said perfectly, is hell isn't that place. Hell is life without God.
Yeah.
And even the people who don't come to terms with their faith currently, God is still providing works in their life. He's giving them blessings. The happiness that they have is from God.
Mm-hmm.
But also the negativity and the bad things that they go through is works of the enemy. People don't realize that regardless if you accept God or not, you have both sides. If you accept God, there's also going to be the enemy in your life. So a lot of people will give that example who don't believe in God or don't believe in Jesus dying for our sins, and they'll say, if God's real, why do kids die? Why do people get cancer? Why do people pass away? But when you accept God, you also are accepting the enemy. God isn't going out there giving people cancer. But God is essentially freeing those and having such a deeper meaning and long-term thing in heaven versus just what's temporary here. So again, hell isn't this fiery pit. It's a life without God. And even though people might not believe in him, he's still blessing them. For people who have bad relationships with their family or their father, let's say you have an issue with your actual father, your birth father. When you have an issue with your father and he's gone, deep, deep down, he still loves you. It's the same exact way with God. Now, like you said, when the time comes for God to, when Jesus returns and it's time for us to either be brought to heaven or for those to live in hell, obviously us going to heaven, it'll be amazing and something that we can't even fathom in our heads.
Yeah.
But those in hell live life without God. And I think they think that they're going to be okay because they feel like, oh, I don't believe in God. I don't believe in Jesus. So, and everything's cool. I'm making a lot of money. I'm living this life. I have nice cars. I'm happy or whatever. But all of that will go away as soon as that day comes. And it's just a lack of education. And that, like you said, is why we really need to put our foot down as Christians to teach and educate the right way. Not to scare people into it, not to say the eclipse is going to cause you to go to hell because Jesus is coming back and you need to repent. Really, like right now, you got 24 hours to repent until this thing crosses the sun, and then it's game. It's not. And it's just so important for us to do it out of love. You know, Jesus lived out of love. God is a loving father. So as us trying to get those to come to Christianity, and more specifically believing Jesus dying for our sins, come to them with love. Educate them. Don't come out of a place of, you need to hurry up or you're going to hell.
Yeah.
Who wants to hurry up and do something if they're being demanded to? Someone who is interested in learning about their faith or someone who says they're not interested, they have to want to do it for themselves. And the best way to do so is leading with love and leading by example. And eventually, once they're interested or they want to hear more, they'll ask and we'll be right there to help them.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And what you just said, in my opinion, is probably the most powerful thing that you can do as a Christian for your testimony is how do you really represent God on this earth is you lead with love. You act out of love. And if you really, for example, want your friends or your family or the people who are close to you to truly see the God that you see in your life, you have to live in a way where you're showing them what God is like. It's very hard because I think I've said this on the podcast. Essentially, I feel like God is an artist. He painted this perfect picture, which is Jesus of a perfect man. But it's essentially like us trying to recreate Picasso's drawings when we're not the artists. We're going to do a horrible job at trying to do it. And yet people look at our drawings and say, oh, that has to be God because you're representing him. Unfortunately, that is the truth. There's a lot of weight to what we do, but the best way that we can represent God is living out of love and truly, truly loving people, especially when it's not easy to, when it's really, really hard to forgive, when it's really, really hard to just let go of whatever people do to you. When you lead with love, you really show people this is what God has done in my life. This is who God is. And that is the most powerful, I feel like, way that you can truly portray God, because that's what he is. He is love. Yes, he is wrath, but he came and he gave his life for all of us out of love because he loved all of us. And unfortunately, we don't do the best job at representing God a lot of the times. But all we can do in our faith and on our faith walk and just in our journey in general is wake up every single day and just try to be a little better than we were, because there is weight to what we do. You can string somebody completely off of their faith path by not acting right, by doing things out of your flesh. And unfortunately, a lot of people will be deterred by that. But all we can really do moving forward, like I said, like we were saying, is just try to be better. Try to live out of love and really show people what God is through your actions.
And to wrap up the faith talk, one of the coolest parts about our faith is people think you have to change your whole entire life and everything gets flipped upside down when you come to Christ. And when you believe Jesus died for our sins, they're like, oh, okay, like I believe in God. They think of the very, very old school, nothing but God. You can live your life and do everything that you're currently doing, unless it's bad things, as being Christian, as believing in Jesus. For example, we love the gym. We love our fitness. We love eating correctly. We're on this cut journey. Just because we believe in Jesus doesn't mean that we have to change our desires and our excitement and the things that we love to do in life. Everyone has their career path. Everyone has what they want to do. Being in our faith will actually help wean off any of the negativity that stems through that and gets your priorities straight so that you can actually be more efficient in what the Spirit has called us to do. I've always wanted to create content, and when I was not in my faith, I was creating content that never stuck. But finally, I had the opportunity to create Christian content, which is what I always wanted to do, was creating content, while I started to grow my faith more than ever. And everything started to click and feel better, and I've been enjoying the way that I've been able to live life because of that. And that's when I came to Christ and was not lukewarm, and I was focusing on that. So for those looking to come to Christ or be more open about it or whatever, people, I feel like, think that everything has to change. But in reality, things are going to change, but you still get to live your lifestyle that you're living for the most part. Again, depending on what that is, negativity or whatever. But if you have a drive behind you, whether it was like a career drive or fitness drive or whatever it is, with God and with Jesus and accepting them, it'll get rid of all the distractions and the negativity, and you'll be able to actually focus. You know what I mean? Like, ever since I've grown closer in my faith, my day-to-day is so smooth. It goes by so fast, but I love it because I don't have any of those negativity or negative distractions that are in my way. Does that make sense?
Of course, of course. You just reminded me as well, because of what you just said, of something in the same lane but a little different, whereas people believe or they think that before they come to God for the first time, that they have to leave everything that they're doing. A lot of the times it's, stuff that they believe I shouldn't be doing this, like drinking, smoking, obviously like having sex out of marriage, even like being gay, everything that can make people feel like they're like God won't accept them. People believe that they have to get themselves right before they come to God. But what I learned is that God is going to love you and he's going to love me regardless of where we are. If anything, yes, the change is going to come. Eventually, you're going to want to be better. You're going to want to leave those things behind, because whether they're not fulfilling you anymore, you feel different about them, God will truly change your heart. but you don't need to change or clean yourself up as a person before you come to God, because he will truly accept you the way that you are. And that's what I try to tell my friends. A lot of my friends who I used to be really close with, they see me and they might think that I'm this, cookie cutter clean person, but I'm really not, bro. And you know me, I know you. We know that we're not these perfect people. We know that we have a lot of things that we're still working on, but that doesn't and that shouldn't ever stop someone from wanting to see God, because if anything, it just tells me that they have the wrong idea of who God really is.
Mhm.
God is not someone who wants you to be this perfect, person who has it all together. He's there to help you through your problems. He's there to help clean you up on the process. And if there's some things that you're thinking in your head, I don't know, I don't feel like this is wrong.
Mhm.
The only thing I would say to those people is ask God for understanding and for wisdom, and come with an open heart, truly. Say, God, if this is wrong, truly, then show me. Show me why. Because I don't feel like it's wrong. And there's nothing wrong with you. It's not even like you're challenging God. You're coming with an open heart. It's the same way as if you've never ever talked to God, or if you, for example, came from non-believing and now you're kind of like everyone's, like I kind of have these questions. It's very different to be like, God, if you're real, show me right now, than to say, God, I don't know if you're real, but if you are, I ask that you show me, and I ask that you make yourself known to me. I ask that you open my eyes so that you can see me. It all comes down to the place of your heart. But I think that's very important for people to remember, because a lot of us don't have our life together. A lot of us have a lot of things that we need to change, but God is always going to be there to help us, and to take us along the path.
Yeah, life goes in waves and there's difficulties constantly. And you'll have good moments when everything's going well. You'll have low moments. So that's something that we're going through right now. We're on this fitness journey. We've obviously talked about it with the podcast multiple times. I guess this would be the third week of recording that we've been on this. We're doing these aggressive cuts. And I want to talk about difficulties in terms of burnout, because burnout in one thing in life will cause to burn out in everything. When it comes to fitness, let's say that we're really on this good flow, we're eating clean and everything, but then we get to this point where we have a few days in a row where we feel burnout. Our schedules are really busy. We don't get as much sleep. We burn out. And then it stems from, okay, I'll take a day off of the gym. Okay, I'll take a cheat meal. Okay, I won't do my Bible study today. And it kind of can be this bad spiral effect down because you're burnt out. I want to go back and forth a little bit talking about burnout because it's tough. And this isn't just faith-wise, obviously. This is for everything, because you and I have both experienced this before, and we'll obviously get into it. Burnout is tough, dude.
Yeah.
And it can be a slippery slope in terms of your fitness, your diet, in terms of your faith, in terms of everything, because we're habitual behaviors. We're habitual humans with habitual behavior. And we could get into this good flow, but it just as quickly as we get into that is as quickly as we can get on the slippery slope of, oh, you know what, I missed my Bible once. And then I missed it twice. And then you look a week back and you're like, whoa, hold up. Or, oh, I skipped the gym once. I skipped it twice. Or I took a cheat meal once. I took it twice. And all of a sudden you're back at square one. How do you feel like through the times, I guess, like, do you have any deep experiences of having burnout? And then how were you able to kind of overcome that?
I've definitely have dealt with it a lot. And for example, my problem is that I get into these things that we call flow state, where everything is effortless. Everything that I'm doing is effortless. If anything, I feel like I can even add on to what I'm doing. It's so easy. It's so hard to get into that mode, and it's so easy to get out of it. And my problem has been that a lot of the times I've gotten into this place, but I've gotten complacent because of the results that I've seen. And that's made me trickle back down into just getting back to square one. A lot of the times the reason why I do get there is because of burnout, because I'm working so hard in everything that I'm doing, that I get to this point where I'm like, man, like, I'm in a different place. I'm enjoying where I've been, or I've been working really, really hard. Today I feel lazy. Today I don't feel like doing all the things that I should do. And so that burnout leads me into essentially hiding in my comfort. The past, I feel like 5 times that I've really tried to do this, and me and you obviously or talking about our fitness journey, that I've really tried to progress in my fitness journey. I've always come to this point where I've hit a wall and I start moving backwards because I get comfortable, I get complacent, and I start feeling lazy because I'm burnt out. However, I feel like what I've learned more than anything is when you get to that point where you feel like you're starting to get burnt out. I told you we're crazy. We think very differently. I think in those points, it's more important for you to go harder. It's more important for you to literally go deeper and do more than you've ever done. Because if you are at, let's say you've seen some results. If you are at a place where you're seeing results, just imagine what's going to happen if you put in another week, yet another week of just straight work, straight, focused effort into anything that you want to do. It doesn't have to be physical. It can be your business or anything else. But if you take that time off, now you're walking backwards again. And a lot of the times, if not every single time, your mind and your body is just going to miss that comfort, that place of comfortability that you were living in as a habit, like you were saying. But you have to break that part off of you. You have to completely get rid of that piece of you that likes things easy. And we were just talking about suffering when it comes to, for example, potentially suffering for your faith. But there's so much beauty in suffering, so much beauty in suffering. And it's never like you're going to do something and you're not going to get anything in return. When it comes to what we talk about, a lot of the times it's very much focused on long-term gratification than instant. But when you really put your focus on suffering in the moment, the fruits or the stuff that you get on the other side of that is just priceless every single time. But there will come tests every single time that are going to test how bad do you really want this? Are you willing to give up? Maybe not give up. Are you willing to take a break? Are you willing to slow down? Or are you so focused, laser locked into your goal that you're willing to push even in these times where it feels like you're suffering, where it feels like you have to go deeper than you've ever gone? That is where I feel like the new version of you starts to grow and sprout.
We want our success to be like a marathon, not a sprint. When you decide to lock in on goals, whatever they are, regardless if they're fitness, financial, career, work, whatever, faith, a lot of the times we're so excited to start something new and to dive deep and lock in that we go fast. And then again, you deal with burnout. We want it to be like a marathon. When you're running a marathon, you don't care that you just ran 1 mile. Mm-hmm. You have 25 point something to go. So you want our work ethic to go, like you said, double down. If you feel burnt out, this is the time where you grow. The average person stops when they feel burnout. The average person starts to feel a little tired or doesn't sleep how they want, or it feels like I'm a little extra hungry today. That's when it's time to put the foot on the gas pedal and go, bro. I'm literally over here smirking because this gets me so excited. You know how many times that we've dealt with this when dieting in the past where our brains won? It's like, oh, you know what? Like, kind of craving something. I've been so good for so long. I can go out. It's cool. Man. I love this shit. Like, let's really get into it. Like, I love this. When times get tough mentally, that's when you're growing. When you set your goal to something and you want to be the best at this, or you want to get into better shape and you want to lose weight, you want to gain muscle, you want to lift heavier, you want to do this at your job, there's going to be times where you forget why you started. Where in the beginning, before you started our fitness goals, before we started these cuts, before Braden started 75 hard, we were sitting comfortable. We're like, okay, like this sounds sick. I'm going to cut my calories. I'm going to be hungry all the time. But you're nice and full right now when you set that goal. So you set the goal nice and full, but you realize that, okay, I feel good now, so that sounds cool. But when you go through it, that shit sucks. You're like, damn, I'm hungry now. I'm not nice and full thinking about, I think I could do it. No, I'm in it. That's when the growth comes. When you get set up with that, I'm a little tired. Should I pull back? No, put the foot on the gas pedal and double down. That's where you grow. If you want to be the best at something, if you want to actually reach your goal and get into it and really become that person who you always dreamt of being, when you feel quote unquote burnout, put the foot on the gas pedal and let's go, because that is where the growth comes. That's where the mental growth comes, because you, one, get those goals, but two, you prove to yourself that you can push past that devil on your shoulder saying, slow down. Slow down. It's put the brakes a little bit. No, put the foot on the gas pedal and let's go. You have goals. We set goals for a reason, and we set them while comfortable. This is what we set them for. This is the test. It's not the, oh, I've done it good. I passed the first 2 weeks where it was a little bit easier. No. Foot on the gas pedal. It's time to work, man. I'm hyped now.
Yeah. No, yeah. I love that. I love that because that's all we're about, all that we're about. And it's truly, I would truly challenge anyone to see what you're really made of. Whenever you're in that moment of suffering, whether it's in the gym or whether it's outside of it, really, really dig deep and show yourself what you're made of. Because a lot of the times, if not every single time, we're held back by our limiting beliefs in who we think that we are. But you have to break that. And in that moment of suffering, in that moment of quote unquote being burnt out, you have an opportunity to change your own identity, to change your belief of, I am no longer a person who stops when things get hard. I am a person who continues and goes deeper when things get hard. And that, I promise you, because I feel like it's changed my life, I promise anyone who really, really decides to do that, it will change your life because you will change your identity, what you believe about yourself. And for anyone who's trying to change anything about their life, I would say the most important thing to change first is your mind. Everything after you change your mind, everything else will follow. But if you try to pretend like you're this person, you will get the results. You will get some results, but there will be a time where the old you is going to come crawling right back out, and it's going to say, "Hey, you've been doing this, but this is the real you." So the biggest thing in my opinion is you have to change your belief about yourself, but that will only come when you're in that moment of suffering and choose to keep going.
Take a look in that mirror and see who you are and see if you're happy with yourself. You and I have both done this before. We've looked in the mirror unhappy. We've looked in the mirror and we've not liked the way we looked. We've looked in the mirror and we felt like how we were when we were younger with no confidence. When you can come to terms with yourself and be open and honest with yourself, there's nothing that can stop you. I have constantly dealt with gluttony, and I talked about this, and I feel like for the first time in years that I'm not dealing with it anymore, that I've conquered it. But you're right, because what happens once this cut ends? Am I going to go back to that person that I didn't like? Or am I going to be able to put the foot on the gas even more and evolve more and do more and mature your brain? And it starts with that talk within yourself. Before you do any actions, before you go out and start working out or start your diet to cut and look nicer, look yourself in the mirror, take a long thought, and ask yourself if you're really ready for that, because that's why people stop. If they want to lose weight, they just had a nice meal, they just binged, whatever. Look yourself in the mirror and be like, am I ready to be hungry? Am I ready to be starving? Am I ready to really work out, even if I don't sleep enough, even if I'm tired? It's about what you're willing to do. And the thing is, and the sad thing is that the average person won't do it. You have to do what others won't so you can be or live how others can't. So what are you willing to do when times get tough? It's so easy to look at yourself when you feel good, when you had a good meal, when you're feeling happy about yourself, when you're not shirtless if you want to look good, to feel good. But when you look at yourself in that mirror, it's something about seeing yourself staring back. Are you happy or are you insecure? Are you happy or are you depressed that you're not the person that deep down you feel like you could be? You have to kill your own self. You say this all the time. You said, I feel like I'm killing my old self. That's not a problem because you're coming into the person who you always prayed that you would be.
Yeah, absolutely. If anything, I've told you this. I love myself so much more now, and it does have to do partially with how I look, but more than anything, I feel like I'm stronger than I've ever been, physically and mentally. And that to me feels amazing because like you said, when I look into the mirror, I don't want to say I'm happy, but I'm in a better place for sure. And what I would like to say for anyone who just heard you is I really hope you're not happy when you look at yourself in the mirror. I hope you feel some sense of, if anything, disappointment, because that is exactly what it takes for you to finally change. You have to come to a point where you're so tired of being where you've been and being the person that you've been. It is only until then that you will truly change as a person. Someone said, when the pain of staying the same is greater than the pain of change, that is when you will change. And essentially, if that makes sense to you, because
Yeah,
you're like,
yeah,
okay,
yeah.
because you're like, wait, what? No, but yeah, let me retrace a
My
little bit.
stomach started going,
Oh
and I
yeah,
was like,
yeah.
whoa.
And essentially, what that means to me is you have to get to a point where you look at yourself and you're absolutely not happy with what you see, because that is the biggest drive that you will ever have to change. Every other time you will be comfortable, you will be happy, you won't really go as hard. But when you really, really look at yourself and you say, I'm so tired of where I've been, I'm going to do whatever it takes to change, that is when you will change. So that's what I mean by when I say, I hope you're not happy. I hope you look at yourself and you aren't okay with what you see, because you have so much potential as a person to be this incredible, just incredible human being in every area of your life. It has nothing to do with just physical. You have this potential to be the best that you can possibly be, but we live so far from that because we're afraid of suffering. We're afraid of looking at ourselves in the mirror and saying, am I truly happy right now? Most of the time, the answer is I'm not. But if you never take that time to look at yourself in the mirror, like you're saying, you will never be able to come to that conclusion. But it's such a scary thing. It's such a scary thing to look at the number on the scale, to look at yourself in the mirror. But it's what it takes. It's exactly what it takes to finally make a change and say, I've had enough.
The goal is to shift the paradigm. A paradigm is essentially your way of thinking. And to shift your paradigm, there's only two ways to do so. One, an emotional change. What we were talking about, looking in the mirror and being so fed up with yourself, so upset with who you are, so upset with your work ethic or how you look or the things that you do in your life that you change because you don't like who you are. Like you said, you're upset with yourself, so you make that change. The second way is by repetition. You can change the way your brain works by constantly doing the thing that you want to do. Even if you don't want to do it, by going out of your way to do that thing over and over and over and over through the suffering, through the pain, through the mental anguish, you will become the person that you want. Your brain will rewire itself as you are doing those things constantly over and over and over. That's the most important way that you're going to become the person that you want to be, is by doing those things over and over and over. I'm sitting here hungry as hell, bro. That's why I started spacing at you and looking at you all funny. My stomach's growling. I'm looking hungry. I haven't eaten in 8 hours. And yet part of me still is like, you could go on a binge. You could eat good. You could go cheat. But I'm so deep into that repetition. And I have had that emotional talk with myself like, yo, dog, no, you're drawing. You're eating way too much. You're not focusing on the quality of the food you're eating. Don't matter. As soon as we get off of here, we're eating clean. It does not matter how hungry I am. So that's just something that people need to come to terms with, is if it was easy, everyone would do it. So it's not going to be easy. Stop acting like it's going to be easy to lose that weight. Stop acting like it's going to be easy to get into the Bible every day when things come up that we're busy. Stop acting like things are going to be easy. Once you stop acting like they're going to be easy and start coming to terms that they're going to be tough, that's when you start to grow.
Okay, let's get personal, right? Not that personal,
We'll
but
get deep.
what do you feel like has been your toughest battle right now lately?
Man. I would say right now, just within the last few weeks, the toughest battle I've had is managing time properly.
Okay.
Because, okay, so let me explain. My day is so busy. And because I'm working a job that I don't want to work, but I have to work to obviously like financially provide, it takes up like 10, 11 hours of my day. So I always find myself in these mental spots where I want to work as hard as humanly possible to get out of that rat race, right? But right now, my day is so full with things that I feel like I need more time. I feel like time is flying by for me right now. And I feel like I need like 28 hours in a day, because I want to sacrifice sleep to work more. But if I sacrifice sleep, then my fitness goals will be hindered because I won't feel as energetic to work out. I want to work less or work less at my job so that I can work more on this. But if I do that, I make less money to provide. So there's this balancing act that I'm currently trying to constantly battle through and grow through and figure out the perfect time management ways to go through that. And that's what I feel like I'm going through right now is I want to spend time with Braden. I also want to work out. I want to eat clean. I want to do all these things. And I feel like I don't have enough time in a day. And to be honest, it's probably the first time ever in my life that I can say that without lying to myself. Where every single day besides, I mean, I guess really if you want to talk about it, like an hour and a half, 2 hours a night tops, Braden and I have to chill. And that's really while eating dinner. And then like maybe like 30, 45 minutes after that, and then we go to sleep. So it's about trying to figure that out. So part of me, like, I want to get up and do fasted cardio in the morning. The last 2 weeks, I haven't done that a single time. I tried this morning, and I struggled. I really struggled. Like, my alarm went off at 5:30. I forgot that I set the alarm at 5:30. And when I tell you, I woke up so confused, dazed, and I was like, what? Boom, put it to 6:15. And that's something that I'm dealing with right now is how can I make everything fit into 24 hours? As crazy as that sounds and as maybe unrelatable as that sounds, because people are like, yo, I got too much time. That's something that I'm dealing with. But that's also because I found my passion and my purpose and the things that I love to do. So it's like, okay, like how can I fit? I'm always trying to evolve and figure things out and become more efficient with what I do. So yeah, I guess that's really what I'm dealing with. That's the toughest thing. And I know that sounds first world problems. It's not that deep, but like that's just like a hurdle in the last few weeks that I've really been working to get better at.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a very, very good way to look at it because you're looking for solutions. You know, you're looking for how you can possibly add more time to your day. However, I will say what that really reminds me of is balance, right? And I'm not going where you might think I'm going with this because I struggle to believe in balance, you know,
Me too.
especially when it comes to the things that we truly want or the things that we want to be excellent at, which for us is every area. Obviously, you want to be an excellent boyfriend. You want to be an excellent content creator, excellent podcaster, excellent in the gym, excellent with your relationship with God. But one thing is more likely than not going to have to take a hit until you really get to that point where everything is so set in stone in your daily life plan that you're progressing in everything. However, what I've found in my life has really helped me, I guess, is when I really want something, I have to laser focus on it and forget about trying to balance, trying to be this person who's, you have to get crazy. You have to get to a point where people will literally think you're crazy for doing because you're so focused on your goal and you're so just compelled to move towards that direction every single day. Balance almost doesn't even exist for you. And right now, people might look at you in that way because of what you said of like, oh, bro, like, you know, take some time. And we hear this all the time. Take a rest. Why don't you have a rest day? You go every single day to the gym. Are you serious? Stuff like that. However, I just feel like when you want to be great at something, not just normal, not just average, when you truly want to be levels above, and again, excellent at whatever you do, you have to sacrifice more often than not.
This is just what we talked about putting the foot on the gas pedal and going harder. Typically for me, the thing that gets sacrificed, and is my sleep.
Yeah.
And that's the first thing to go. And I think that's why in the past I've let my fitness slip because like I would sleep less and then I would be like, okay, I'm working hard on this so I can kind of eat whatever because I'm not focused on my fitness as much. So what excites me is being able to double down, put my foot down, figure out the most I'm a scheduler, right? I like to plan every single thing out. So I could tell you the plans for the rest of my week and what I'm going to do every single day down to the hour for the rest of my week now. I love it. And I'm excited, bro. Like, that's the thing. Like, I might be at this spot where I'm like, okay, like, how do I fit everything in? How can I work harder? What can I do? How can I time things better to make things more efficient? But I love it. It's not a complaint. It's an excitement because it's almost an excuse to get better and to be better and do more. Put my foot in and double down on the things that are difficult. You know, we obviously day trade. So in my opinion, through creating content and really, really studying all day long at work, I mean, I would love to create content full time. So what I've been doing is studying all day long, listening to podcasts. I told you I've been listening to Mr. Beast heavy because I want to find the best way to become the best content creator that I can be. And also with trading, day trading, we day trade. So I see the way that I can give myself more time without having to work. It's just about staying to the plan, sticking to the plan, and not letting any of that falter. You know what I mean? What do you feel like for you the last few weeks, really, the thing that's been, I guess, the hardest or you're struggling with or whatever?
Yeah, for me personally, I feel like I'm also in the same place that you are where I'm so focused on some things, but there's other things that are taking a toll. Now, granted, I'm in a very different place than I was when around a year ago when I was in a relationship and I was half assing essentially everything. Like,
Yeah.
not just one thing, but half assing everything that I was doing. And now I'm in a very, I would say, I'm very locked in, but there are things that I want to put more emphasis and more focus on, which is music, which is my relationship with God. Those two things I feel like are really, really important to me. But because I've been seeing so much progress in my fitness, it's made me want to double down more on that than it has on everything else. However, I will say I'm not in a bad place because I feel like I was explaining earlier that I'm in a flow now when it comes to that. So now I can really add stuff on. Now I've gone through basically everything that I can go through with my fitness to know, okay, this is what I need to do if things start to get harder, if my body starts to, complain at me. I know what I need to do so I don't get distracted or I don't get held back by those things. Now I really want to add everything else that I want to do, but it, like you said, it just feels like a lot. It feels like even now being out of a relationship for me that I still don't have enough time. Which just to say this shows me exactly why I needed to be in this place because even without a relationship, a partner that I want to give my everything to, I still feel like I don't have enough time. So to me, all that really tells me is I want to make sure that all of my other areas are straight, are good, are absolutely focused before I try to look for anything else or before I try to really get into anything else because I want to be excellent and as a boyfriend, and as a future husband, as a father. But right now I have to focus on all these other things. And it's a lot, bro. Like the life that I want to live, and obviously you as well, it's not something that everyone wants. It's not something that people would just, I guess, are excited to wake up and try to live. But to me, it's very exciting because, like we say in this podcast, bro, people have so much potential, so much untapped potential. When you really focus on that, it's such a beautiful thing how you see yourself change and transform.
Do you feel like you're wasting time at all? Like, how is your time management?
No,
Because
yeah,
to be honest, constantly, I'm so constantly locked in with social media that I'm on my phone a lot.
mhm,
And the way that I treat this podcast is I take it very seriously, obviously, and I want to run social media and everything that I'm doing with that as a proper business would be ran. So I know like I'll send you audio messages or texts and stuff like that. And I feel like sometimes that slips your mind to respond.
yeah,
Do you feel like that's something you need to be better at? Are you
of
bad with
course,
time? Is that like, you know what I mean? Is that a
yeah.
time issue? Is that like, yeah.
No, it's to me. I feel like one, you're right that I'm not doing everything that I possibly can with my time because truthfully, there is a lot of time that I'll spend, on reels, on TikTok, on things that don't necessarily matter. And that's one thing that me personally I have to give up and sacrifice if I want to move forward with everything that I just talked to you about. And of course, we talked about it on this podcast. If we want to be excellent, there is going to be things we have to sacrifice. For me, I would just say it's more of a habit than everything to open on my phone and to do all that type of stuff and then realize, man, I've wasted all this time. Um, but that's where I'm headed right now. I feel like to a place where my entire life is surrounded by just things that are helping me move and progress rather than take my time away. But it's been hard, bro. Like, okay, being real with you, there's been so many distractions that I can give my time and focus and energy to. And I feel like I've been doing a good job at just moving those away. But there's always things, bro. There's always things. And I feel like truly I will say when God has a plan for your life, the enemy will try to distract you, and he will try his absolute hardest to make sure that you're not following that path. And that's how I feel like where I am right now. I feel like God has a purpose with me, as he does with you, as he does with everyone. However, we get to choose if we're going to follow that path or not. And more often than not, we're always so distracted by the things that are cool in his world, or we're so distracted by just these, whether it's people or social media, anything, that we get thrown off, thrown off the purpose. And right now, like I told you, I'm very locked in when it comes to some things, but I need to be better in everything else.
I feel like what I've been learning through myself as well as through you and hearing what you've been going through and the efficiency and just the evolution of the daily routine is the most effective way to be excellent in every single thing that we do is to have a schedule set. The reason I say that is I've dealt with the same thing in terms of like scrolling through Reels and TikTok. I still do.
Mm.
What I'm supposed to do when I go to work with my timing is I get there, I have my breakfast or whatever, and then what I'm supposed to do is I'm supposed to do my Bible study right away, first thing in the morning. Like after my first order, because I don't have time, like I get there and I pretty much have my first work order right away.
Mhm.
But then normally I have like a 20-minute bubble after that first one, which I like to do my Bible study. But there's times where I go on TikTok and I go on Reels, like you said, or I'll be like, okay, I'm going to do my Bible study. And then I get a YouTube notification that someone posted a video. And I'm like, oh, like I'll check that out. I can listen or I can read the Bible later. And I think that's what really will set us apart is having that schedule. And it doesn't have to be like insane, but getting the things done instantly. And we'll see how much time we have left for leisure and for TikTok and for Reels after.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I'm trying to force myself to read that Bible at that same exact time every single day so that I can't push things off. It's very easy to do that. So it's not just you.
Mm-hmm.
And the way we'll do that, I mean, is being insanely strict with our time until we can have more time. And then obviously when we have more time, it's not like, oh yeah, free time to chill. No, we got more time to do the things that we love.
Yeah.
But I think it's such an interesting case of having to be so strict with our time where we're never going to have the time that we desire.
Yeah.
We always crave that time freedom to be able to travel, to be able to do whatever we want, to be able to go to the gym, not at 6, 7, 8 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
Like, I hate going to the gym that late. I want to go at 12 or 1 or 2 in the afternoon. I want the time for that. I can't. So the way I'll get my time back is by being so insanely efficient with my time and with the things that I do every single day to where I'll be able to do that. I think a lot of people, and you hear it a lot of times from people who are successful, that, oh, going back, I wish I would have had more balance. They wouldn't have got the success that they had if they had more balance. The only reason they're saying that is because now they have everything. And now they're like, oh, I feel qualified to be like, oh, like you don't have to go as hard. I don't think those people would have the success they'd had if they didn't go as hard.
Yeah.
And to be fair, I never want to get to the point where I can say that because that's what's going to get us there is by having that strict schedule. Whether it be, okay, you go to work at a certain time, as soon as you're done work, if you go on your run or whatever, like you can't have any free time until you work on your music. Or I can't have any free time until I edit the podcast or post the clips or whatever I have to do for the day. And to display excellence, that's just something that we have to be okay with. And I feel like through our conversation and conversing now and before and things like that, it's really coming to terms with myself and almost looking at myself in the mirror like we talked about and being like, no, like you got to get better. You got to sharpen up. Like you don't have to sacrifice sleep. But you spent probably like a few hours a day mixed in watching content on YouTube and doing things like that. And if I'm going to do that, it needs to be studying, not by being a consumer. You know what I mean? And for your thing with music, if you're spending too much time on TikTok and Reels, you can flip that script and flip the switch by just using that time and being more efficient with that. So that's definitely something. I'm glad you said that because it made me reflect on myself because I asked you about that, but I'm not in a position to where that is perfect for me at all. You know what I mean? I waste a lot of time when it comes down to mindlessly scrolling social media. And I guess that's another thing is, people need to make sure that they can be very open and honest with themselves with their time. Are you wasting time? Because most social media isn't good. It's negative and it fills your brain with the wrong thoughts, like we were talking about with the Eclipse. And it's something so important. Purple's kind of hard. It's all right.
Okay. Right. I will say as well, what I've learned or what I've realized is when I start my day right, the rest of the day is very, very
Yeah.
disciplined. Like when I start my day by reading my Bible and putting God first, truly, truly, even with my first breath, as soon as I wake up saying, God, thank you for another day, everything else seems to go much smoother. I feel like I have more time in my day. It's so easy to be disciplined because I've started already choosing my spirit over my flesh. And that's essentially I feel like where I need to continuously just stay in there. Just completely focus on that, and everything else is going to make its way. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter what we do or what we get from this earth. If I get this amazing physique and have billions of dollars and have 10 different wives, but I don't have God, it's
Yeah.
pointless. All of it is pointless.
I think you just delivered me from something because you said with your first breath, like, God, thank you so much for this day. Dude, I wake up, I'm like, fuck. I'm like, I just closed my eyes. It's 6 o'clock again.
Yeah.
I'm tired as hell. But I couldn't even tell you last time I got to sleep in without an alarm. But I
Yeah.
definitely got to get better at that because not that obviously makes my day bad at all. I normally pray.
No,
pretty
yeah,
much
it makes
right
sense
away.
if you sleep 6 hours or 5 hours compared to me when I'm trying to sleep 9 hours for the reason,
Mhm.
for the reason of moving forward. But yeah, it makes sense. But no, I feel like your heart is in a good place,
Yeah.
and it'll tell God more than you waking up.
I was
Let's
gonna
put it
say
that
it's
way.
definitely not like a negative thing. Like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, I can't believe I have to wake up. Like it's like,
Yeah.
damn, son, I just went to sleep. I feel like I just blinked and I'm up.
It's
Like,
like day 200 of being on the grind. You're just like,
you
"Yup,
know, dude, I know I
here
don't
we
get
go."
enough sleep when I get geeked when I wake up in the middle of the night and look and it's like 4. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh hell
I
yeah, I
know
get
what you
2 more
mean.
hours, son. A lot
That's
of
the
people are
best
like,
feeling.
a lot of people are like, dang, bro, I'm up. Like, damn, this sucks. I gotta use the bathroom. I'm like, yeah, yeah.
No, that has to be like top 5 greatest feelings. When you wake up in the middle of the night and realize it's not morning yet. I don't know why, but it feels like we slept more.
Bro, 100%. Like, I have bad sleep patterns in general, and I've really been fixing them, which has been great. But that's like something that I experienced in school that I never knew I'd experience again, or never knew how much I loved it. But bro, I'm telling you, especially you ever wake up like an hour or two after you go to sleep, that geeks me even more.
Yeah.
Sometimes I wake up and it's like 4:30, and I'm like, oh, I get an hour and a half. Like that's sick. I feel amazing. And then other times I'll go to bed at like 10 and I'll wake up and it's like 12:30 and I'm like, oh baby, I get like sometimes I don't even
It's
go
like
to
you
bed.
slept twice.
Exactly. Sometimes I don't even get to go to bed until that. So I'm like, oh yeah, I get a
Yeah.
full night's sleep again. So that's a top tier feeling in life. I put that on that. Some people complain they can't get a full night of sleep, but when I wake up mid, I'm like, whew.
You know what I just thought of as well? Another top 5 feeling has to be getting out of the sauna after like 10 or 15 minutes of being in there.
Yeah, bro.
That first second when you walk out, I wish I could just live in that second forever.
Dude, I haven't been in the sauna in so long. Do you go in the sauna a lot?
I haven't recently, but I'll never forget.
Dude, we used to go in there all the time, just boys being boys, nice
Yeah.
and sweaty guys next to each
Yeah.
other. That sounds a little weird. And we would come out, dude. I feel like I was coming out of a butthole or something. I was like, oh man, like, wow,
I
this
feel like
feels so
you
good.
were just born.
Yeah, and then you look down, your clothes are all so you got swamp ass and stuff.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, this is kind of nasty. It's like that. Literally, that first couple seconds, you like, I don't even know how to explain it.
Okay, hold up, because now that we're on this conversation, this podcast has gone downhill. Another one of the greatest feelings is when you haven't peed all day, and then you go to the bathroom and you just let it go.
Like
Yes, exactly, exactly. Has to be one of the greatest feelings ever. Or after you haven't drank water in the longest time.
Oh, dude. First off, I'm very aware that cold water is not good. It like slows down your digestion and everything like that. What I have to say to that science, I hate you because I'm a cold water drinker.
Mhm.
Like you said, when I drink some cold water first thing in the morning and I just feel it go down. I feel it go down and your whole like insides get a little cold.
It's like your body starts to turn on. Like
Bro.
gears start to grind. Like,
I feel like ice, man. I feel like I can like shoot out like ice or something out of my wrist or something like Frozone from Incredibles. Dude, I love it. It's like probably top 2, not 2.
yeah.
Yeah, man. But that's like an interesting turn. But I think we're gonna wrap it up here, man.
Yeah.
I think that was a
a
pretty
good
good
one.
podcast.
It was a good one.
Some deep talks. You guys got to let us know in the comments if you prefer the deep talks, if you like the mix, if you like us fooling around.
Yeah.
We really want to do what you guys enjoy, but as well as what we enjoy. We talk like this normally. It's not rare to kind of go from a deep God talk about the eclipse to talking about growth to talking about feeling like you're coming out of a butthole from the sauna. So this isn't very rare for us. We're being ourselves, but we do want to know what you guys like so that we can improve and be better. But
yeah, it's been another week.
That's another week. I appreciate you guys for listening. Make sure you guys follow or subscribe. Guys, we are on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and we also post our clips on YouTube Shorts, on TikTok, and on Reels. So follow us on all platforms. Guys, we appreciate you guys for coming back every week. Make sure you show some of your friends this podcast. They might think you're weird for listening to two weird dudes, but hey, it is what it is. Leave comments if you guys want us to talk about a certain subject. Appreciate you guys for watching, and we will see you next Monday.
Peace.
We outie.